Hello, everybody. This is Farida Bharmal here. By profession, I am a counselor, a graphologist, and a life coach. Thank you for joining in. Hello, everybody. I'm Farida, and by profession, a counselor, a graphologist, and life coach. Uh, just a couple of hours back, I had asked this question: what time do you go to sleep at night? And there were so many answers which I received from 10:30 to 3. Okay, that's the range which I got, wherein they are saying that we go to sleep at 10:30, and some of them said that we go to sleep at 3. So I'm just going to sort of ask you, what time do you go to sleep? Could you just enter that into the chat boxes, please? What time do you go to sleep? I'll just wait for a moment, and whoever is live right now, direct answer, direct question to you. What time do you go to sleep in the evening? Hello, everybody. Thank you for coming. Add, please. I am not sure what do you mean by add, please. Thank you so much, Mominin official. 12:30. All right. 11. Okay. 9:30. Okay. That's actually good. That's actually good. Hakimuddin Bhai, that's lovely. All right. I have been having these productivity sessions, okay, every Sunday. So 3 weeks are already done, and 12:30, 11. Okay. And this week, I wanted to talk about the pattern of sleep and how it affects us. Okay. Now, for some reason, I really wanted to go ahead and do a little bit, teeny weeny bit of a research. So I wanted some facts and figures. But, the kind of information I got was so amazing, guys. Okay, let me just help you understand. Do you know that when you sleep, it helps and enhances your memory? Okay, one thing is that it's absolutely amazing for your memory. One, I'm going to explain it how. Second, if you're not having adequate sleep, which is for around 7 to 9 hours, as said by Matt Walker, who has written an entire book on this subject, and it is so detailed. It's so totally amazing. I said I need to do a live, and thankfully it was a Friday with Farida, right? So just because I have a 6-month-old baby, your entire body clock has changed, Bain. Your entire body clock has changed. Your entire hormonal things have changed. It's not because of that. For you, you sleep when the baby is asleep. Okay, for you it's not that, and absolutely no need to be guilty about it. If when the child is sleeping, go ahead and sleep. Okay, for the other people, this is how it works, right? For instance, that if I am sleeping and my body needs to restore a certain chemical into it. Okay, melatonin, of course, I'm not going to stress on that point. We all know that once there's something known as a chemical, that is melatonin. Our body produces it, and it's a sleep producing chemical. And if there is light, melatonin doesn't get produced. All right, so that is something which we know, and that is absolutely fine. What I'm talking about is this secret cells, secret agent cells which our body is having inherently, and they act as natural killers to other harmful cells. Okay, so this is one of the things. And at the same time, when I went ahead and researched this particular topic, it showed me that Alzheimer's, learning disabilities, obesity, cardiovascular diseases, reproductive system issues, breast cancer, bowel cancer, prostate cancer. All of these were byproducts of just not sleeping for that adequate duration. Okay, so there was this global experiment. It's a very interesting find. It says there's this global experiment which is done twice a year and on 1.6 billion people on 70 countries. Okay, in 70 countries, and that is in the month of spring, in the season of spring. You lose 1 hour. Okay, you lose 1 hour, and what they found is subsequently 24%, there was an increase of 24% in heart attacks which followed. Okay, however, in the season of autumn, that is when we are gaining 1 hour. Okay, that is when we are gaining 1 hour more. That is when 21% decrease was noticed in the reduction of heart attacks. I mean, isn't that incredible? Just look at the amazing sort of data which is there, which is available here. Okay, so what I was talking about, another study, okay, which was conducted, and this time it was a controlled group, wherein they got one group to sleep for around 6 hours and another group to sleep for around 8 hours. Okay, now there is one thing which they noticed, that the people who had slept, there was this they measure the immunity system through it. Okay, now 50% cells got active and 50% cells, they just died down, sort of not died down, of course, they became deactive. Okay, so the ones which were active were the ones which were the cancer producing cells, and the ones which got disactive is this natural killer cells, which are the secret service agents in our body which are helping us fight this cancerous cells. Okay, I understand that this is quite a amazing topic. Actually, it's a difficult topic, but at the same time, the reason I went so deep is because I wanted to have tips of good sleep. In fact, I'm going to cover an entire topic of sleep in this Sunday's session. Okay, so I thought, why not share this information with you too? Okay, and apart from that, if you are somebody who is in the learning mode, okay, if you're in the learning mode, think that your brain is like a sponge. Okay, it has absorbed all information. The best thing it needs to do is then rest, because that duration of rest helps your brain to transfer the information from long-term memory to from short-term memory to long-term memory, and for it to stick over there. Okay, in the same way, if you have to learn something, the best time is after you have slept and woke up, because that's when your brain is like a dry sponge. Whatever you give it, it's ready to absorb. So can you see just how this pattern of sleeping, okay, or the pattern of sleep deprivation could cause havoc in our bodies? All right. For everybody who's joining in, thank you very much for joining. And I'm seeing a lot of requests which are coming in. Sure. If you do have any questions regarding this particular session, you can go ahead and ask. Okay. What we are talking about is disruption of deep sleep and how it's contributing to the cognitive decline, how it's contributing, sleep deprivation is contributing to the rise of cancerous diseases and other diseases like obesity, diabetes, stress, cardiovascular diseases, and so on and so forth. Okay. Now, if you are having any questions over there, go ahead and ask, or I'll just go on and let you know a little bit more about this topic because it's so amazing. Now, why? Why is this sleep important? Okay. There is this stages of sleep. We sleep in different stages. So there is from 10 to 12, 12 to 2, 3 to 5. Now 3 to 5 is known as REM sleep, wherein there is rapid eye movements which are going on. So this is one of the sleeps which are very important. However, if you're going to sleep, if you're going to go to sleep at 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock, then you miss the deep sleep stage. As I said, that sleep is divided in different stages, so you end up missing those stages. But what happens in those stages? See, basically, that is a region. The deep region is one wherein you are having powerful brain waves that are produced at that particular point of time. So when these waves are produced, they act like a transfer mechanism, or they act like natural respondents to any of the other harmonious cells which are coming into the body. Okay. So that is how, or that is why deep sleep should be at an appropriate rate. Now, who are the people who are at risk, and who are the people who will see issues? What are the kind of issues which you will see? Because all of this is physiological, but it is also psychological. Anything which affects your physiology will affect your psychology. So if it's affecting your body, if it will affect your mood also. You can think about it. If you have gone to sleep late in the night, in the morning you're going to feel very lethargic. Okay, you're not going to feel rested at all. That is one of the things. And apart from that, another thing which sleep deprivation has been noticed, what we are noticing with it, is aging. Okay. If you are not sleeping properly, basically you are inviting your body to age faster. Okay. And I don't think any of us need that, right? Thank you for joining in, everyone. We are talking about the benefits of sleep. Rather, we are talking about how disrupting patterns of sleep is going to harm us. All right. So, first and foremost, you must be aware I have these sessions which I am taking every Sunday. And this particular week is going to be the topic about sleep itself, sleep and rest, and how it's helpful for memory, especially the memory, because your brain is like a sponge. When it has absorbed information, it needs time, it needs rest to put it in the long term memory. And at the same time, if you have rested enough, then because that entire file transfer has happened, your brain it becomes like a dry sponge, so it's ready to absorb new information. Okay. Are afternoon naps which people take in afternoons good? Yes, they are good. They are actually quite productive. All right. Think about it. If you have got up, if you have woken up at 5 a.m. in the morning, all right. So at 2 o'clock after your lunch, if you have a nap, it's very productive for your system, because till then there is around 8 hours where you have woken up and done some activity. So now your body requires that rest. The best time is when you have had your lunch, and then you can go ahead and nap it out for 15 to 20 minutes. It's totally amazing, and thank you for that question. We have been speaking about sleep. We have been speaking about the deep stages of sleep. We have been speaking about issues which arise if your sleep is not proper. We have been speaking about how the pattern of sleep is going to affect your biological system. Thank you, Arva. And we have also been speaking about the new particular topic which I would be discussing in the next session there. Okay, so if you haven't joined in or you want to attend my sessions, the link is in the bio for you. All right, are there any questions maybe for you, if you'd like to ask with this particular topic? I would love to go ahead and answer them for you. Okay. No? All right. So let me ask you a question. In fact, I have asked this particular question. What time do you go to sleep, and how much time or how much duration of sleep do you end up getting? And is that sufficient for you? Especially for people who are working overnight in the IT jobs or so. After a certain time period, you will be able to notice the fatigue in you, and you will be able to notice how it's affecting your system. Anybody gone through those issues? If you're here and if you have gone through it, I would really appreciate if you would come talk about it, or just say a hi, that yeah, that we are in IT, or maybe anybody who's sleeping after 12:30, 1, 2, if that's the kind of time in which you are sleeping, you're basically disrupting your biological clock. And a very simple advice which the author Matt Walker gives is, the shorter you sleep, the shorter your lifespan. It directly affects your lifespan. All right, I'm seeing a lot of people giving requests for coming on live, but I'm not sure. If you could just type in your question, I would take you on. Okay. Sleep by 11 and wake up by 6. That's good. That's good. The last session, I remember speaking about getting up at 5 a.m. Okay. And that was another session which went ahead. In fact, it was week 3. Week 1 we started with an entire commitment exercise. Week 2 we went ahead and prioritized our tasks. Week 3 is when we spoke about waking up at 5 a.m. Is it okay? Because I feel like sleeping more. 11, right? That's around 7 hours of sleep. And that's a good number to have. If you feel like you want to sleep more, you could go ahead and take a nap later on. However, the resistance will always be there, Arva. When we want to sleep, when we want to get up and do some work, the resistance will always be there. I would, recommend the 5-second rule here, because your body is already in a lethargic stage, right? It requires you to wake up, it requires you to like go ahead and do other jobs and things like that. So the best thing to do is follow the 5-second rule, wherein you just it's a very popular Mel Robbins rule, wherein she says that you count from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you wake up and do whatever job you want to do. So basically, you don't allow your mind to speak to you or to speak you out of any action that you want to do. You can go ahead and give that a try if waking up in the morning is an issue for you. Yeah, that's a good question to ask, though. Thank you for the question. All right. So if there are no other questions, thank you so much. that you have joined me for the live, and I'll be saying bye now. I'll be saving the live, of course. I'll just very quickly go through certain points. One, sleep is a natural restorer of your body. It produces something known as natural killer cells, which are secret service agents, which are helping you in, or protecting you rather, from cancerous cells and diseases like Alzheimer's, aging, diabetes, obesity, and cancers like breast cancer, prostate cancer, bowel cancer. And provided you have the kind of quality sleep which you need to have. And the best way of allowing yourself to sleep is 1 hour before going to sleep, before going to bed. Switch off the lights and try to get your mobile away from you, because the light, whenever the light is produced, it sort of gives an indication to the mind that you're still in the wake mode. All right. And that's when you'll not be in a position to lie off and go to sleep. Of course, it's equally important for learning and for the transfer of short-term memory to long-term memory, which is going to stay for a longer duration of time. In week 4, in my productivity sessions, I will be covering up this topic in greater detail. So if you have any questions, go ahead and leave a comment below. Don't forget to join me tomorrow at 5 p.m. because I'll be joined by Alafia Fayaz, who is a scribbler in Rida, and she is an author at such a young age. So you would definitely want to know what she does and how she does her work. I'm going to quiz her on the session tomorrow. So I hope to see you there, and I hope this session was productive and informative for you. If it was, do leave a comment below. Thank you so much. This is Farida Bharmal, and I'm signing off now.